And welcome to NFL Chaos with Jeremy. I am the Chaos. And I'm here to talk about not so much just the draft, but what we fail to do sometimes is think about what will Joe Douglas for the New York Jets think about and do before the draft even starts. What are we going to address at free agency? And is that going to connect to a plan that connects to the draft? So we're going to do some exercises here. We're going to think about what do we need to add in free agency? And we're going to say how much money do we have to add, how many players of significance to fill holes can we honestly add with the salary cap, with the cap figures we have after re-signing players, extending Braxton Berrios, etc. There might be a cap increase, and figuring out how much money we're going to have, how many positions we're going to be able to fill. Guess those positions that we're going to fill through a free agency. Not really guess or predict, but just give us a baseline. Like say, hey, if we address these positions, these particular positions, then let's change our draft strategy. So what we're going to do together, if enough of you join on, because this was kind of a last second thing, we are going to figure out, we're going to pick three positions of need and say that those three positions are filled. We're going to pick three and say we fill these three positions in free agency. They're no longer a priority in the draft. And then we're going to look at the first two rounds of the draft with that in mind when we come back. A 115 team takes a running back. You just took your franchise quarterback. You had a running back. And I'd be pissed if I was a Jacksonville fan. I love that, talking about Ray Reed. He'll never find out. Believe me, nobody knows better what it looks like when an organization is about to go to shit than a New York Jet fan. And Justin Fields proved that he can hold it together. He can regroup. It's okay if he struggles. And we got a big game against the Eagles, and maybe you need some energy, so wake up! We have every right to expect the Jets to win. Rich Cimini, schmuck, putz. Okay, so just before I say hello to everybody in the chat, I want to do a reminder that although I may be wrong, see, it says I may be wrong, but it's highly unlikely. I figured what a perfect shirt for this channel, because I know that we all feel that way, right, about our own opinions. So let me get started by welcoming Owen. I never try to say his last name because I don't want to mispronounce it, but I'm blind, so I can't see my screen. Barrera. Owen Barrera. You see, I can't read, and I'm an educator. Isn't that funny? Jets mess is in the house. I just had a very big meal for lunch, delivery, so I am stuffed, so there will be no eating today. Free agency, we need to leave. Okay, we're going to get to that. He's already jumping in. What's up, Mess? That's right. What's up, Mess? So okay, so going back to what I want to do. We're going to pretend. We're going to play make-believe. We're going to say after re-signing our players, maybe extending Berrios, maybe even someone else, we're going to say that maybe we'll pick some role players for that, fine. But we're going to fill three solid positions. Okay? So whether it be tight ends or linebacker or cornerback or safety, we're going to pick three positions. Now, that doesn't mean we can't pick those three positions in the draft, but it does mean we're less likely because we're only going to do the two first rounds. It means that we're going to keep that in mind, and probably any of the positions we fill in free agency, we're going to assume will not be the first two rounds, right? We might add depth to those positions in rounds 3, 4, 5, and if we make trades 6 or 7. But we're going to attack the positions that we don't address in free agency first. Okay. So now I think the hardest thing to address in free agency is edge. So we need to address edge in the draft. That's my opinion. I'm going to take your feedback on that. There's possible alternatives. There's ways, right? There's a guy in Minnesota that's pretty good. But let's decide, okay, what are the three positions that we need to address in free agency, or let's pick 3 positions, and then with that mindset, do the first 2 rounds of a draft. This is all my idea, okay? I didn't steal it from Green Bean. My idea, my little niche, my little specialty thing, my little touch on a mock draft, okay? Don't let him tell you otherwise. This is all me. He never did this before. He never did this. He didn't think of it. He can't. He's too busy drinking a seltzer. You know, he can think of a theme, but he can't think that big. Like, whoa, let's pretend we signed free agents and we took away needs, and then we do the draft, man. Sounds good, man. With his pen, whatever it is in that pen, and then his seltzer. Okay, that vapor thing that he does. Okay, so. Okay, free agency we need. Now remember, we're going to get some of these things in the draft, right? So if you say linebacker, safety, OL, you're saying that those are the 3 things you want to pretend were addressed. That means we're not going to take Nakobe Dean, though. If you like, these are the positions where when I say address it in free agency, I mean get key names, key people that we don't have to use our first and second round draft capital. Now, the truth is we might get a really good linebacker in free agency and still take Dean. I know that. But I'm trying to spread it out and pretend like not pretend, but I want to take the approach that we're going to cover all of our holes, or as many holes as possible. So I don't want to go deep in one room and have no depth in another and go into this season with a glaring hole like we did this year with tight ends, concerns at cornerback with Echols, although now it'll be a second year. Okay, so let's think in that. You like the new setup? Okay. What does Joe have to say? Oh, Joe, welcome, Joe. Welcome, Friggle D. I didn't say your names. Welcome, Harry. I wasn't scrolling down. My wife likes the new setup because she knows it means I did some painting. If you look really carefully, you could still see that I didn't have it textured. You could still see some imperfections in the wall. One day, the wall behind me, aside from this banner that Phil gave me from England, those slats, because I'm kind of like an A-frame room, those slats, I'm going to either put posters up there, you know what I mean, and go to Sack Exchange and see what he has for sale, or I'm going to put banners to the side of me, but I'm going to figure out a way to make this more studio-ish and more cool. So Harry is saying defensive end, safety, and T. Well, again, I think it's going to be hard to address defensive end in free agency, like in a real way. But I would say that tight end is definitely one that we should just put in there. Okay, tight ends, we get Schultz, and it doesn't mean we're not going to draft another tight end in the draft. It doesn't mean we're not going to get Kolar in the later rounds or whoever's there. It just means that that's not going to be a concern of the first 2 rounds. We don't have to use a second round pick for McBride if we get Schultz. We don't have to. I'm not saying that JD won't. I'm saying, but I want to approach it as Schultz, later 3rd round tight end, 4th round tight end, right? Bates, re-sign our own. But I think we could do 3 significant free agents and re-sign our own. I do. If we truly have 60, 65 million. Because I think we could go, 12 million, 15 million, 17 million, for example, on 3 free agents, and still have enough to re-sign some of our own to nice deals, because we don't have any big people re-signing right now. No one huge, just to be crazy expensive, and then leave some room for our draft capital. But also we might gain another 20 million in cap space, I hear. So you're a master blaster. I don't know what that fully means, but I'll take it as a compliment. We need 2 safeties, 2 tight ends, and 2 linebackers. Okay, fine. But if we get a tight end and we get a safety and we get a linebacker, can we then go for those 3 positions, 3rd and 4th rounds, and focus on the other positions 1st and 2nd? That's my question, Joe. We don't have to, but let's go in with that mind frame. So now maybe we don't have to double up in tight ends. Now we don't have to double up in safety, and we don't have to double up in linebackers. Who am I fooling? We're not doing a 2-round draft. Let me change this. We're going to do a 7-round draft because you mothers of effers are going to make me do it. But I want to go in with the mindset that we already have 3 spots filled. And I think tight ends has to be one of them. I think safety has to be one of them. And I think linebacker has to be one of them. So it feels like both of you are saying that, Harry and Joe. And Connor Williams at right guard. Okay, so that would be OL. Um, I don't know, man, about right guard. Is he good? How good is Connor Williams? I want a young guy forever in that position, but we really have 45 million without our draft class. Yeah, that's true. But they're also that 45 might become 65. That 45 also might become a little bit more if we renegotiate CJ, if we renegotiate McGovern, which I think if we don't, we might cut him. I'm not sure. And there's some guys that are already, there's guys that they're not going to re-sign that are optional contracts that will then show up as more available cap space. It's from Mad Max. You're referring to Greenbean always having the ideas. Oh. No, you know what's funny is I'm going to tell you a story, and if he ever sees this, he might argue it, but I'm telling the truth. When I was writing which I might do again, by the way, when I was writing those blogs for Greenbean for his website, I said to him in the very beginning, I said, "Oh, it could be your pods, peas, like your peas and your pods." And like Green Beans Pod. And he's like, "Yeah, that's cool. That's funny. I like that." And the reason I said that was because I was in an improv duo troupe called Peas in a Pod. It was me and my friend Adam, and we even had a logo and everything. And about a month and a half later, he said, "Yeah, these are the peas in my pod," or something, and started laughing as though like he's this brilliant guy with this great idea. And I was like sitting at home and I wasn't on with him. So I'm like, I can't fight him on the chat, but that mother effer. He totally, and I didn't do it on purpose. He forgot it was my idea. It was my idea that all the people, all of us, Watu-K99, all of us that are on Green Bean's team, we are the peas in the pod. Okay. The pod of Green Bean. Okay. We have the worst safety room, worst tight end room, and the worst cover linebackers. Okay, Joe, I'm not arguing it. We need two of each. We're good. Okay. So those are the three things that we're going to fill one spot each in free agency. Okay. Now remember, we're not going to be a Super Bowl team next year. We're going to go into next year still unhappy somewhere. We are. We have too many holes. We're even with free agency, even with drafts. But you know what? Every team in the NFL has holes. Even teams that are winning, even teams that do well, have something they wish they had, right? Something. They could use something. Every team practically, I'll say, could use something. So we're going to be needing something. Connor Hughes thinks we might steal the wild card spot, the last one, by next year. Well, that's kind of cool that he thinks that way. He's usually very critical, and we feel like he's negative all the time, and yet he feels we can take that spot. So look, we're going to why would CJ renegotiate? Because we'll cut him after next year if he doesn't, right? And then he'll have to re-sign, and he's older at that point, and he might want to. I don't know that he will, but CJ might want to finish his career with us and be part of this. He seems like that's what's in his heart. I don't know if he just wants to be here one more year. He knows we're not going to pick up the option and pay him $23 million after next year. He knows that. So what he might do is something like kind of what Wayne Chrebet did. He might do Wayne Chrebet really didn't do it that way. He did it in reverse. He took all the money up front. What he might do, and players of teams have wanted to stay on a team have done this, is he might not change the guaranteed money. He might even increase his guaranteed money, but he'll spread it out. Like he might say, I got 4 years left that I want to play. I could play till I'm 32, 33. I want to spend the last 4 years of my career. I want 4 guaranteed years on this team. I want to win a Super Bowl with this team. So we're going to take what I have now and we're going to renegotiate. And you're going to overpay me a little the last 2 years of my career, probably. I might be overpaid by then. But that's to make up for the money that I'm going to let you off of now. And that's for the benefit of the team. So players have done that before. So he might renegotiate something where he's guaranteed money for 4 years, but we take that money, for the total of the contract that we owe him, we add friendlier money, like maybe $14 million a year for 3 years. Take that as a guarantee, 14 times 3, put it on the 22 he's going to make next year. Take that all, divide by 4, and whatever that comes out to, maybe it comes out to $17 million a year, right? And kind of make it a little bit more friendly. That's what I'm talking about, Harry. And we'll see if he's willing to do that. And it's a big deal because that could add $5-6 million to cap space next year. Connor Hughes is yeah, nobody likes Connor Hughes, man. But that's the thing about him that's weird is he'll do good things and he'll do bad things. He'll say things I like and he'll say things that I don't like. I lost respect in Connor Hughes when he said the Jets are going to deal the 10th pick for Ridley, because that's just a bad take. Like, because if Joe Douglas did that, 90% of the confidence I've put in Joe Douglas dies, because that is a ridiculous thing to do. Ridiculous. It makes no sense. And it goes completely against everything that this team has talked about for the past 12 months. We can easily win 9 games. I guess, yeah, why not, right? I mean, it depends on this draft, though, right? And how the players play. And remember, the challenge of next year is we're going to have like 4 or 5 rookies starting, right? And they might be hits and successes, but they're going to make mistakes. And Zach has to take that big step forward, right? I mean, he can't go backwards and then work his way back up again. He has to take where he left off. He has to start from the starting point of where he was in those final 4 or 5 games. And he has to start from there and go up. So, hey, nobody loves Zach and believes in Zach more than I do. But I'm going to acknowledge that that's not written until he does it. That's not a guarantee. So we have some things we have to hope go right still. And if he does take those steps forward, Zach, and he keeps getting better and make the progress he was making, hell yeah, we could win 9 games, man. He could get very good, very fast. The second you start to get that feel and that rhythm and that flow, and you're seeing the field and reading the defense as well, and you feel comfortable, and now he has a right guard, and Becton's back, and who knows, now he has a little bit better protection, more time. Now he's got a tight end to throw the ball to. He's got a healthy Elijah Moore, hopefully, all year. Corey Davis is back, so now maybe we finally have our receivers on the field at the same time. I mean, yeah, we can win 9 games. Why wouldn't we? But we got to fix that defense, and everything we do on defense, the free agents we bring in and the draft picks we're about to pick, they all have to contribute, because that defense needs serious help. Okay, serious help. You want no lessons? Me too. Look, I don't want to go to 6. I don't want 2 wins, 4 wins, 6 wins is not fast enough, right? 7, 8 wins. 8 wins is 2 wins, 4 wins, 8 wins. Oh, wow. 16 maybe, right? Then we go 16-1 because we're on pace. We're doubling. Our growth is doubling our wins every year. That'd be great. 9 would be just beautiful, right? Because 9 would be the nightmare's over, and we're now a competitive football team, and then we now go into every season with hope. So that's what 9 would mean to me. 7, 8 means, yeah, we improved, but will we get any better? Or are we going to level off? But 9, oh my God, that would be amazing. DJ Missouri, I think Samini's the worst. DJ BM is, he sounds very amateur when he asks questions. I will say that. Like, you could tell you always know it's DJ, because it's like, I'm the 10-year-old in the room that's nervous and can't believe I got this job. And are you going to do a different scheme next week? And can you tell us what that scheme is? And Salah just looks at him and goes, no, I'm not going to tell you what scheme I'm going to use next week, you idiot. Like, this is public. The team we're playing next week might actually be watching. Schmuck. What we need to get, a Chase or A.B. Brown? Yeah, well, I don't know how we get A.B. Brown. I don't think he's a free agent next year. But after watching him, oh, you mean we need to get a Chase or A.B. Brown? Yeah, maybe Treylon Burks, man. I was watching this morning a lot about him. He's good. He's good. He's no joke. Oh, look, I got a text from Greenville. Let's see what that epic beard freak is saying right now. Let's see. Use the phone horizontally. What are you talking about? I don't use my phone as a camera. I use my computer, Green Bean. Should I be using my phone? Should I be using my phone to do this show? How would I do that? That seems like I'd have to get a phone stand. That seems so weird. Use the phone horizontally. Okay, I'm going to say I am online now. We need to get a Chase or A.B. Brown. Okay, so we addressed that. I agree. We need a wide receiver stud. Maybe we get it in free agency. And Friggle, and Joe, I will say this. If we got that number 1 stud wide receiver in free agency or a trade, we do not have to draft a wide receiver in the first 3 rounds, because we don't need 2 wide receivers. We got Elijah Moore, and we got Corey Davis. Hopefully we got Braxton Berrios as a gadget guy, and we don't know yet about Cole and Crowder or any of that. I don't want Cole back. I don't care. I know there's people out there. Oh, he's great in the locker room. He's great in this. No, Cole was a bust for us. People got to be every time he makes a catch. See, it's good that we have him. Yeah, wide receivers that get a multi-million dollar contract, whatever we're paying them, 4 or 5 million. I don't know. Yeah, they're supposed to, and when they're starting on the Y opposite the X, they're supposed to get some catches. That doesn't mean we're supposed to sit there and say re-sign him. That doesn't make him a WR2 receiver. Like receivers that aren't that good still get receptions sometimes and make good catches. The point is that he was completely inconsistent. He was invisible for more than half the games that we played in. So Cole is not the answer. We do not want to go into next year with our starters being Corey Davis, Keelan Cole, and Elijah Moore. That's not good. We want Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, and player X, whoever that player might be. Okay? And I don't know that Elijah Moore can't be a WR1. Like Elijah Moore might be that guy. There's no ceiling for him right now. Okay? He was a beast before he got hurt. He was turning it on. Okay? He was an absolute lunatic. Okay? That guy is Studley. But should we get a big target like a Treylon Burks to complement Elijah Moore? Oh, hell yeah, we should. Hell yeah, we should. You're looking good here. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Harry. Thanks, Harry. Yeah, no more green screens, guys. I'm just going to build up this studio, and I'm going to make it look really cool. That's what I'm going to do. And Sack Exchange, if you ever watch this, yeah, man, if you want to give me a deal or something, help me out. Like hit a bargain or something. I give you a certain amount of money. You send me all the stuff I need. I start hanging it up on the walls. I promote your business. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit later. All right, Steven? If you ever got this, if you ever watched it. All right. Friggle D. It's a shame because that was what Cole brought in here and he fell. Yeah, it is a shame because he's a great locker room guy. And I like him. I really do. I like Cole personally. I think he's a great kid. And I wish he was better. But he just, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I mean, he did, overall, I'm happy with the plays he made. I loved him when he made those plays. He did some great things for us. There were some great plays, but it's not a WR2 kind of thing. It's a depth kind of thing. Like if we brought him back on the cheap and a guy gets hurt and Cole comes in, I'm okay with that. Like if he's in our room, if he's WR4, WR5, he's on the roster. He's a guy who can come in, blah, blah, blah. We go to 5 wide receivers, when we're down and we're playing a 2-minute drill. Yeah, no problem with him. No problem with him. Good locker room guy. I got no issue with that. He's definitely okay. Oh, he's definitely an R1 in the making. You're talking about Treylon Burks for sure. Or Elijah Moore. Schmoozing. I schmooze, man. Us Jews, we like to schmooze. I've never seen many killing drops as I have this season. Yeah, man, this season was agonizing. We don't just need good receivers. We need receivers that have hands of glue, right? We want guys who catch the freaking ball. 3 and 4 year contracts to young free agents like Lawson and Davis. Yeah, definitely. We're not giving any big contract to anyone. I just think that CJ, the exception with him is to flatten out the money and to get him to be like that veteran on the defense. Like there's our captain. There's the blue sticker helmet. Like even when we get those fast linebackers around him, he'll be out there for his brain. Like he'll clog up his space. He might not be able to run sideline to sideline as well as he did anymore, but he could be that brain in the middle that really runs the defense, and he could be very valuable in that role. No Elijah. What do you mean no Elijah? Elijah's awesome, too. Steve Summers. Is Steve Summers a player that I don't know about? And penalty killing drives. Penalty killing drives, man. That hurts everybody. It hurt Dallas the other day. But they said that we're the most improved team in the NFL on penalties. So there's that. At least it's better than it was for us. But yeah, everybody has them, and you wish you can get rid of them. Those freaking holding. You get a 30-yard gain, holding. It's the worst feeling in the world. And I want to be the top 3 in the league and less of that. Right? The least penalized team. We got to win to make that happen, though. McGovern, veteran on offense. Yeah, look, I mean, that's why, I don't know. My eyes tell me something else, but then the stats and everybody else seems to say something else. it seemed like our offensive line was better at the end of the year. And it seemed like our running game was starting to be established. Things were getting a little bit better. And McGovern was there for a lot of that. So it's just that it can't be because it can't be, I mean, we'll see what happens this year, but he better not start slow and have to improve again like he has the first 2 years on the team. Like now he knows the system. My expectation for McGovern is he comes in game one, he's ready to go, knows his assignments. We can't have the fiasco we had against Carolina. Absolutely unacceptable. So he better come in ready. Mims was a penalty and drop pass machine. Yeah, unfortunately. It's a waste because his physical attributes are amazing. Like his potential is just amazing. Tall, strong, fast, great. Before he started dropping the ball, his whole career up until this year was hands were not an issue. Caught with his hands, pulled it to his body, never dropped passes. It was never an issue. And then this year, I don't know. I mean, maybe the coaches did it to him. Maybe it's not the right chemistry. He lost his confidence. He needs a new start somewhere else. He might never pan out. He might be good somewhere else, but we shouldn't worry about it and punch ourselves in the head because he was never going to fit here. That's what I think. But he cost us nothing. Like bringing Mims into camp next year cost us nothing. We have him under contract anyway. It doesn't cost anything. We bring him in. If he plays well and has if they decide that he did a complete turnaround, then good. If he resigns, you're getting his jersey. His girlfriend also likes the New York spotlight. Could sway him, unless they get lured to a team in Florida. Yeah, I think he likes the Jets. But I think at the end of the day, he's going to secure as much money as he can because keep in mind, nobody was talking about extending him even though he was doing okay all year, until he had the big games, a couple of big games, the return touchdown. That's what got everybody really excited about him. And he knows that this might be his final contract as far as big money. Like his agent is saying, this is where we struck. You peaked at the right time. This is the contract where you have to assume you're going to make your big score. So if we're not competitive to what other people offer him, he's gone. Only around 3.4 per game and 300 total offense. Lindemann might be hype. Yeah, but you got to watch the tape, right? I mean, if everybody else on the team sucks, but if you watch the tape, what is he doing to his guy, right? Anybody that's lining up against Lindemann, what happens to him? But at the same time, rather than use a top 2 first-round pick on him, if we get Lindstrom in the 4th round or 3rd round, and he's our developmental center, like he starts the first year on the bench learning, or at his depth if, McGovern got hurt, no complaints from me. But it's hard to judge Lindemann because what if his guards around him sucked? I mean, we had Becton playing really well in 2020, and our offense sucked and our offensive line sucked. But it had Becton, right? So he wasn't hype. He was really good. Even Fant wasn't that bad. So you have a few bad pieces on the line, and makes everybody look bad. So we don't know, but it might be like I don't think he's hype from what I've seen. I'm judging it by the tape, but I don't think it matters. I don't know if we can afford to make that pick anyway. Sway him, not away him. We'll get him, guys. I have a feeling that we'll get Braxton at the end of the day. If we don't, people are going to be pissed. I know. But it might just, it means that somebody else was giving him some more money than fit our plan. Like it would have broke our plan to sign him. So, I mean, we're just going to have to make a decision, I love a trade down for Green. He is absolutely an AVT clone. Yeah, man. I like that too. That's why I was saying it from the beginning. I was like, I don't know if I would take him with the 4 or the 10 pick, with those picks, but I wouldn't be angry and super upset if it happened. Like if we took Green at any point in the draft for any reason, like however it happened, don't think we're not going to be excited. Don't think we're not going to say, holy shit. Now we have Becton. If he's healthy, can you imagine with Fant, the way he played last year? And now you're going to have AVT and Green, who's a freaking beast. Can you imagine? That's like, dude, I mean, We can argue all we want. Oh, they need a wide receiver. They need this and that. But how could you be mad? Like you got to be excited if that happens. There's so many things that you got to be excited about if it happens. I mean, if we get Thibodeau and Carl Lawson comes back, can you imagine the flip that's going to mean in our defense? Can you imagine if Lawson is the guy we thought he was going to be and Thibodeau pans out? Man, we could look like Tennessee did today, sacking Burrow a million times. Although Cincinnati ended up winning the game. So sacking the quarterback is not everything. You can't turn the ball over on the last drive with 2 minutes left. Or 20 seconds left, better yet. Worst case, he goes to the Pats. That is the worst case because he'll be a stud there. Belichick will know how to use Berrios. Let me tell you, there's no question about it. He'll be like a Welker type, man. He'll be a problem. That was a great signing. Yeah. People were criticizing JD for it after the first year. People were criticizing him. And, people will criticize JD because they'll find something he did wrong. But, you can't find an NFL team that doesn't if you look at any football team, show me a football team where you can go through the first 5 rounds of the draft and every guy hit. And every guy they traded for hit. And every guy they signed hit. It's not possible. It's like saying a guy pops out, you sign a big free agent outfielder, comes up to plate his first at bat, pops out, and you say he sucks. Bad signing. Like what? I mean, I don't know what the average or the percentage of hits should be in the draft or free agency. It'd be an interesting statistic. I should probably put that in Frankie's ear. Like if somebody calculated each GM and said who's the best in, and some kind of rating system for hitting. Like if you became a starter, if you became an all-pro, if you were a bust, that means because you never started. Like some kind of ranking system and rank the GMs in that way. And we actually had a number or a stat. But until that day, we're going to have to hear haters talking about JD and picking out the mistakes and totally ignoring the success. That's exactly, exactly what we're going to have to do, right? That's what people are saying about Lindsay the first month of the season. People are still saying it, even though it's 1 year, Now let's see what happens now that they're putting now what they're doing to that team. I don't even know if there's going to be a baseball season, Harry. So the Mets and the Yankees might not have to worry about it. It's not looking good. If you want to draft an edge, you go with Lawrence Taylor videos. Go watch Lawrence and see what reminds you of him the most. That is Thibodeau. No question, because of the bends. The way he pushes guys and goes around guys, the ways he takes different angles and deceives guys. It's not just power through like Hutchinson. I get it. I just saw a play today with a defensive end, and they were showing that. Like he was going inside, and he made a good move and got through the offensive lineman. And then on the very next play on 3rd and long, he pretended and he juked like he was going to go inside, and he swung around the end and he sacked Burrow. So I forgot which guy from Tennessee did that, but it happened. That's what they talk about when they talk about the twitch and the get off and the bends. That angle that you can take to get around the player. That it got to be more than just power. It's got to be finesse. Because from college to the NFL, you're gonna go against tackles that you're not going to overpower. You're not going to run through. So absolutely, I hear you, Joe. I feel you and I hear you. Okay, so we're going to go into a pretend draft with the assumption that we have signed a tight end, a safety, and a linebacker. That's going to be our assumption, right? That's what we all agreed on. That's what we're going to do. So let me share screen. You know what's coming next, right? And let's do a draft with that in mind, okay? We have one linebacker sign that we like. These are significant signings. I'm talking about 3 significant signings, 3 starters. We signed a starting safety. We signed a starting linebacker, and we signed a starting tight end. Hey, Gitmo, you can probably catch on to what I'm doing, Gitmo. We're going to do a draft, but we're going to do it with the assumption we pick 3 positions to assume with our free agency money, with our cap space. We did our re-signing of players, and we've went out and picked up and obtained a safety, linebacker, and tight ends that we're happy with. that we believe are contributors and starters and solid players. Like, for example, Schultz, a linebacker that's a free agent out there that's a proven linebacker that's good, and a safety that's proven to be very good, very good, solid guy that everybody's happy with. So we signed 3 solid guys. Now, I'm not talking about a Jared Davis, okay? I'm not talking about a project, a prove-it-year kind of guy. I'm talking about signing 3 guys that are proven to be good. No more freaking Jared Davis types, okay? That we're going to make excuses for. Oh, yeah, it wasn't good because Patricia wasn't a good coach. No, I don't want to hear that bullshit. If you're good, you're good. That's what my experience tells me. You have the worst coach in the world. If you're good, you are good. You could be misused, but you still show up as good. Our eyes, Gitmo's been watching 10 years, 12 years longer than I have. And he'll tell you like I'll tell you. And you know, guys that have been watching a long time, we know what good looks like. Don't tell me someone's not as good, but they didn't have a good coach, right? That's what Carolina thought. And they gave away the farm and they threw away everything and set their organization back 2 to 3 years maybe with that Sam Darnold crap. He's good. Oh, it was Gase. Right. So it was Gase throwing those interceptions. It was Gase when he was getting good blocking. And we saw it, plenty of plays. And he was looking downfield and he threw the ball to the other team. Right. That was the coach's fault. Give me a break. One quarterback I saw after 3 or 4 years of not doing it, turn it around and do it. And that's Tannehill. And the difference was he went from a mix of coaches in Miami that was never able to pull it together to a team with the best running back in football, a great offensive line, good receivers, and a great coach. And guess what? If you take away his running game and his offensive line and you start pressuring Tannehill, then he'll be the same Tannehill you saw in Miami. Right? So he's a quarterback that can be good if you put the right players around him. Okay? Maybe that could be Darnold, but we're looking for something better. We're hoping Zach becomes better than that. Anyway, I was going off on a tangent there. I just don't want players that haven't proven it on the field. I don't want players that the excuse for them not being good was because they had a bad coach or they were in the wrong place. I'm done with that crap. Okay? You are who you are. Deshaun Watson played on a pretty crappy team. But nobody doubts Deshaun Watson's talent. Okay, he found a way to still be considered a top-notch quarterback, even though he had shit around him. Let's do this draft. That was me going on my little tangent. Thibodeau goes 1, Kyle Hamilton goes 2, and Hutchinson goes 3. Don't you hate drafts like that? Okay, but now we know we have we have at least one quality linebacker. We've added a quality safety, and tight end. And we're being offered a trade. Did Darnold ever go as long as it did without throwing an interception? Maybe. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But you know what? I'm not going to say Zach Wilson's any better than Sam Darnold until he proves it, right? That's your way of thinking too. Good. Well, I know that. I'm going to say that I like the fact that Wilson progressed throughout the year. And that was our best takeaway. And next year's the prove it year. We have to see if that progression continues. But I love the fact that he went that many games without an interception. It was beautiful. It's a beautiful sign. It's a beautiful sign. It's something we can take with us and hope. Oh, he was feeling new to quarterback, so he developed. Yeah, so my point about Tannehill is just very rare. You know, it has to be, it's happened in the NFL, but it's very rare. Like, it's more common that when a quarterback fails with a team, they go to the next place and they fail there too. That's the more common story. Tannehill was an exception, though. Definitely. Had his best year last year. Pick 4, Minnesota wants to give us 12.46 in a second. See, this is the pivotal thing. Do we trade down to 12, or do we look at the board and say there's still elite talent? Do we say Evan Neal is elite talent and we want to bring in elite talent? Because if you bring in Evan Neal, he could play guard, right? I believe so. So, I love you. Yeah, he had a lot of talent. Yeah, Will Gannon was good when they got the team around him, right? That's true. How did Tannehill not get totally ruined by Gase? Exactly. How didn't he get ruined by Gase? Why would I don't believe there's such thing as being ruined. There's bad situation, and then your situation gets better. And if you were ruined, then you're not mentally strong enough anyway for this league. You're not mentally. Take the trade. Take the trade down. You know why? I know Harry wants to take Neal, but you know why you take the trade down here? The number one reason is: would you rather have Evan Neal and nothing, or would you rather have maybe Kenyon Green or Icky from North Carolina State, who can be a great guard for us, and also have an extra second-round pick and a second-round pick next year? See, Neal is not that much better. Like, won't be as I don't think enough of a difference maker from a guy like Icky from NC State to be worth saying. Like, I don't think he's a second-round pick and a 2 second-round picks better. So let's take that trade. Now we go down to 10 and we look at who's on the board. Buffalo wants to deal with us. I'm not going down to 27. New England wants to deal with us. They want us to go down to 21. That would give us 21.54 and a third. That would give us a second and third next year, give us 2 second rounders in this draft on top of the 2 we already have. And we'd be at 21. Now, I'm not going to play. I mean, we could play the board here. But I don't think it's fair to do that. I don't think it's being honest, because I know in real life we wouldn't be so confident, Devin, that David Ojabo would be there. I'm going to say no to this. We're going to pretend it's real life. We don't know who's going to go, and we need to get a top talent. So what I'm going to do with this pick is I'm going to take David Ojabo, because I'm not playing the board, guys. PFN is bullshit. Let's do what we do in real life. In real life, we would grab our edge with the 10th pick. The Eagles want us to trade down to 15, and they'll turn our 108 to a 51. I do that in a heartbeat, guys. I'm sorry. There's no one on the board that's going to go away that's going to make me cry. Kansas City wants us to go down to 29. Chicago wants to go down 39. Nope. I'm not going to be stupid. We could take Stingley here. So we took our edge. Free agency gave us a safety, a linebacker, and a safety and tight ends. Okay. So we still haven't addressed offensive line. And there's Icky. I think if we went so heavy on free agency defense, 2 out of 3, I think we got to take Icky here, because we haven't done anything for the offensive line. I'm going to go line. I'm going to take Ikem Iguano. He could play tackle or guard. There's your starting guard, plug-in guy automatically. Okay, so I'm glad that Gitmo agrees. Friggle D agrees. And now here we are. New England wants us to make a trade. We're not going to do it. I don't like you, New England. And now we have, let's look at what we have coming up. We have 35, 38, 46, and 51. Bunch of picks in the next 16 picks. 4 out of the next 16. 25% of the next 16 picks belong to the Jets. Let's see what the trade, no trade offer. Okay. Now we picked up a safety in free agency, but Lewis Cine is there. And Lewis Cine is really good. We did not say that we picked up a wide receiver, did we? We said safety, linebacker, and tight ends. So we have to think about, there seems to be the playing this board at all. It doesn't feel like there's a wide receiver worth taking at this point of the draft. Okay, if we take the safety, Lewis Cine, we're done. We signed a good safety, we're saying, and now we're taking Lewis Cine. We're done at safety. It's locked up. Done. We have solved that problem. That room is filled now. We've got talent in that room. New England wants to give us a 54th. Fuck you. Miami wants us to go down to 50 and give us their second next year, and they want a 145. I accidentally accepted it. Sorry, guys, that was a mistake, but it's okay. I'm going to redirect these. We already took our edge. Isaiah Likely, I don't like. And there's Christian Harris sitting there. Christian Harris sitting there, guys. Just sitting there. I lost out on Bell because I accidentally accepted a trade. Sorry. But Christian Harris is there. Christian Harris. Oh, we got a spammer. Okay. Take him home. Harris? That solidifies the linebacker room. We take Harris. We're done. Dotson. I can get Dotson with the next pick. Harris, we wouldn't have been able to get. Shit, we may have lost Dotson too. My bad. Let's look and see what wide receivers are available. What happened? It did it again. We have to start over. It reset our whole draft. I hate PFN. I hate PFN. Are you kidding me? I cannot believe it. It just started us over again. All right, we get to do it again, guys. Well, the situation changed in this new draft that we're being forced to do. Aiden Hutchinson slipped. Now, I like Thibodeau a lot more than Hutchinson now. But we needed a mulligan. I love it. One second. Let me tell my wife to come get it. Come get it. She wants my phone. We just got new phones, and I think she wants to hook up the Apple Watch to it for me. So she can come take the phone, can't she? Hell yeah. Wait a second. Let me tell her to bring a drink for me. My mouth is dry. Bring drink. Bring a drink. Should I say please? Yeah, please. Okay. I think we have to take Hutchinson. Okay. I know we just have to. Yeah, we have to take him. I know we like Thibodeau better, but we have to take Hutchinson. Holy shit. Look who slipped. Look who slipped to 10. Kyle Hamilton is still up there. I know there are people who are not a fan of Kyle Hamilton, but I'm sorry. If he slips to 10, we take him. Okay? I'm taking Hamilton. Oh, my God. That never happened before. So now you're telling me we get Hutchinson and Hamilton? That can completely transform our defense. So now we signed this safety and free agency. We get Hamilton. We're done We're done with that position. Carl Lawson's coming back. We took an edge. We're done with that position. We still need one linebacker because we're pretending we signed one. And we still need a tight end because we're pretending we signed one. But we signed a good tight end, so it's not as critical that we get one of the top tight ends. At 10, he's a bargain. I'm glad you agree. At 10, he's a bargain. You could pick a safety that's this dominant with the 10th pick. Wouldn't that be great in real life? If we got Hutchinson, better Thibodeau, but can you imagine getting our edge and getting Hamilton, two guys who can completely be impact players on the defense day one? So Carolina wants to offer us their first-round pick next year, but it's not free. You're saying to take the trade? We drop down to 105, Harry, but we get a first-rounder next year. Yeah, Carolina wants... Well, let's at least look at the other offer. The Giants want to move up one pick. They're fighting for the quarterback. That's what's happening. But the Giants are saying you only have to go down one and we'll give you our third-round pick. Carolina's saying we'll give you our first pick, but we're only going to give you 105. We're going to make you go all the way down to 105, and we're going to make you give up your 162. But we have another second round. I know that we have another second round. Joe's saying no. We have another second round, but we have a lot of holes, Harry. And this team has to start winning. I'll happily go down with the Giants one pick, obviously, because they're taking a quarterback, so it doesn't affect us. I'll pick up their third rounder for our 145th. I'm willing to do that. Although that's not the biggest bargain in the world. It's not because that third rounder has fourth round value. 145 is a fifth round pick. Fourth round pick. So it's really not that much of a bargain. But I'm willing to do it because I think we do have to build up next year a little bit. Yeah. Arizona wants us to go down to 39, and they'll give us their fourth next year. Huh. And the Rams want us to go down to 100, and will give us every pick they have for the rest of their lives. That team is ridiculous. Their trades. I'm gonna take the Arizona deal. To me, it's a free fourth round pick. There's no one I think is gonna go that I care about right now. Okay. They took Drake Jackson. The edges went. We already have an edge. 3 edges went. So that trade cost us nothing. The Giants ended up taking an edge. So that was so stupid of them. That makes no sense in real life. If we had just taken Hutchinson, why would the Giants trade up a pick for us? They wouldn't be afraid of us. Oh, they're afraid of somebody else. Let me hide that comment. That's an old comment, Gitmo. Kind of like you, old. Is Burks on the board? Oh, I wish Burks was on the board, brother. I wish. He is not. They want us to trade down to 43, and they'll give us their 111. Atlanta. What do you think, guys? We'd have to go down 5 spots. We have the next pick 39 anyway. We have to go down. We have the next pick anyway. Do we take the free 111? I still don't see the immediate board. Still looks good to me. Well, we can get the wide receivers though in either of these spots because there's no wide receivers on top of the board. So let me do the trade and then we'll look at who's available. Okay. Now the next pick they want us to go down to 42 and give us their fourth Washington. 3 spots. They'll give us their fourth round pick for next year. Let's look at some guys that are available and make sure that they're not taking someone we want. Dotson's the next wide receiver available. Romeo Doubs and George Pickens and Mechie are all there also. Justin Ross, there's a lot of talent there left. Tight ends, Wademeyer and McBride are still there. One of them will still be there if we wanted to get our other tight end. I think we're pretty good at safety because we've signed one, we're pretending. And there's also Zion. But when you look at Zion on the board, we could still get him if we trade down here. We could take this trade and still get Zion. Okay. We're not going down to 60. And we don't need to keep doing this. Okay. So we're going to take Zion Johnson. Well, because we didn't address offensive line yet. Just defense. Right now we're at Aiden and Kyle. So let's get Zion. Let's lock that down. We have another pick right now. Okay. And when's our next pick after that? 69. Okay, so what we're going to do with this pick is we're going to take the wide receiver, Jahan Dotson, because he's the last one at that level that's on the board. Okay. You see, by listening to Bob and so listening to Joe, I'm balancing Joe and Bob. And by listening to Gitmo and Bob, I'm sorry, Harry. Sorry, I know. By listening to them, though, you have to admit this is looking like my best draft ever. So, okay. We're not trading down to 84. We're not Rams. I don't think McBride is available, guys. So here's what we're looking at. I know you guys don't want a running back or a tackle. We already took a safety. Did we take a linebacker? Because Brandon Smith is sitting there. We have not taken a linebacker, and Brandon Smith from Penn State is on the board. We don't pick for a long time. Okay? We don't pick for a long time. Now, the alternative to Brandon Smith is Alec Lindstrom, who's just 2 spots behind him. It's really, understand, we pick one, the other's probably going to be gone. Right? Now, we picked an offensive lineman already. We have not picked a linebacker yet. We don't have a linebacker yet. What's the bigger need? Center or linebacker? I think Harry is saying Smith. Why did Smith? Smith dropped because the rankings have changed. For some reason, he's dropped very far. Like Christian Harris went way up and Brandon Smith went way down. Not sure why. Nothing happened. He's not injured. Nothing bad happened to him. So let's just take him. I'm going to give us an update of where we are and how we're doing. We have 108, and then we have 111 and 114. So we have a lot of picks coming up right now. Okay? We got our edge. Carl Lawson's coming back. That's 2 edges being added this year. We got Kyle Hamilton safety, and we pretended that we signed a safety in free agency that we like. Okay? He's not staying in school. He wouldn't be on the board if he was staying in school. And if he is, then we'll know that, and we'll just never do that again. So we have not taken a linebacker, tight end yet. So even if we signed a tight end, we still need a tight end. We assumed that we signed a safety. We're good there. We assumed that we signed a linebacker. So with Brandon Smith, we're good there. That's 2 in the room. We threw a wide receiver into a room that already has Elijah Moore and Corey Davis. Zion Johnson is now going to be our starting right guard. We're solid on line now. Did you see that kicker McPherson who kicked automatic? Yeah, who does he play for, Gitmo? Are you talking about the guy today? Like in the NFL already, Tennessee or something, or Cincinnati? Because both kickers played great today for their teams. Anyway, let's look at the tight ends. Now, I have a special place in my heart now for Jeremy Ruckert, who's actually the next tight end on the board. Cincinnati, yeah. I mean, look, he was kicking. It felt like both kickers were very good, but his kicks were like center and pinned to the net. I felt like he would have been able to kick him for 60 yards. I really like Jeremy Ruckert. You know why? Because they showed a picture of him when he was like 3 years old with the Jets logo painted on his face. His dad's a diehard Jet fan. He grew up in Long Island. He did good in Long Island, high school, whatever. Got himself into Ohio State. He done good there. They had great receivers, so his numbers don't pop out, but you got to look at his physical skills. They threw their wide receivers a lot there. They don't utilize the tight ends as much. Assuming we signed a guy like Schultz, yeah, we know Ruckert could block. We get to go again anyway right now. So again, let's look what we have. So we're good at edge. We're good at safety so we have 2 new safeties because we signed someone. We got the guard that we needed. We got the wide receiver that we needed. We got the linebacker to go with the linebacker that we signed, right? Based on what we said. We got the tight end to go with the tight end that we said. So we have filled all these positions. Everything has gotten boosted. The thing that we need is we don't have depth as far as developmental offensive linemen. So we do, if somebody's there, we do have to start thinking about like a tackle that's just there to be our backup, our first guy off the bench, or the future. Yeah, I agree, Gitmo. So the higher ranked guy that's available on the boards right now is Tyler Smith offensive tackle from Tulsa. Naturally, size is the first thing you notice when looking at offensive tackles. In that regard, Tyler Smith has an edge on most of his peers. Smith sports a massive 6'6", 330-pound frame, but he actually moves fairly well for his size. Even more inspiring, beyond his physical foundation, is his surprising refinement as a redshirt sophomore, as well as his physicality, grip strength, and finisher mentality. Smith has some buzz already, but that buzz might only grow when spring rolls around. So there's no negative. Running back is a need, but it's not like we're not like on red alert. You know what I mean? It's not like we have no running back. We have Michael Carter. We just need depth at the position. There's no one up here right now at running back anyway, so it would be reaching at this point. If we scroll down further, we could start seeing guys like Sincere McCormick. And then there's a Hassan guy that'll be available later. So let's just grab the offensive tackle, Tyler Smith. And we go again 3 picks later, so we didn't miss out on anybody. There is, let's look at the running backs. Offense, running back. And there you go. Okay, that might be the position we left, guys. Can't hit them all. But remember, for a few million a year, we could pick up a running on RB2. In the NFL, running backs are cheap. So that's not even a big free agency signing, right? That's like we could pick up, another. Coleman was okay. I think Coleman got 1 more year left in him. He was okay. He's just injury prone. But Michael Carter is a little injury prone of his first year, so it's a little bit of a concern. Walter looked okay, but he's not the guy. You don't want to go in with him as your RB1. So I understand it, but it's not like that we can't pick somebody up. Yeah, I know Green Bean likes Haskins. That's how I know who he is. Look, Green Bean's not the only one that likes Haskins. Everyone's like talking about this guy, Blake Corum. It says they're saying Haskins is the thunder to Corum's lightning, but he's not simply a bruiser. Sure, he's 6'1", 220 pounds, but he can hurdle defenders as much as he can lower his shoulder and demolish defensive backs. You got to love that. He also has some measured agility and contact balance. Don't sleep on Haskins. So he's a good fit, right? Because Carter is not – we don't want Carter to be physical. He's too small. If Carter's too physical, he's going to get hurt. Now, we're reaching by taking Haskins this early. We're passing up on guys that are much higher rated, but he's a good fit. So let's just lock him down. Oh, Kelly wants to know who we got so far. Kelly, you're going to like this draft because this has never happened before. Something happened that never happened before. That is going to blow your mind. So we're not going to trade Detroit. Okay. So look what happened, Kelly. Aiden Hutchinson dropped, so we got an edge. We've seen that before, right? Once in a while, Thibodeau or Aiden Hutchinson drops. At number 10, Kyle Hamilton dropped. We got Kyle Hamilton with the 10th pick after getting Hutchinson with the 4th. That's just a dream. It's a dream come true. So we get Hutchinson, Hamilton, then we picked up our offensive guard, Zion Johnson. We picked up our wide receiver in Jahan Dotson, who we think is the lowest we can go. If we didn't grab Dotson, we don't think there's anyone left. I mean, there's Pickens and Mechie that are on the board sometimes, but in real life, I don't know if they'll be there. So I guess those were possibilities. Brandon Smith at linebacker. So that's sweet. Jeremy Ruckert at tight end. Offensive tackle, Tyler Smith, development guy, depth guy. Hassan Haskins, running back, to be a backup running back. We got one more pick left. Also, if you missed the beginning of the show, we're going into this assuming that we have signed in free agency a good linebacker. So that means we now have Brandon Smith drafted to go along with a good linebacker and CJ. We've assumed that we have already signed a safety. So we're adding Hamilton to a decent, we're using our cap, like big, good money, solid money for real guys, proven players. And we assume that we already have one tight end. So that's why we took Jeremy Ruckert. So we're assuming we signed Schultz or Gesicki and that we have a tight end. So what it means is that as of right now, we get Carl Lawson back and we throw Aiden Hutchinson opposite of him. We signed a free agent and we're adding Hamilton with him. We're adding Zion to be our right guard. We're throwing Dotson into the wide receiver room. We got Brandon Smith. We're throwing in with another linebacker that we signed and CJ Mosley. We still have Quincy Williams off the bench. And Blake Cashman, if he's healthy, ever. Jeremy Ruckert at tight end to go with whatever tight end we signed. Offensive tackle Tyler Smith for depth. Hassan Haskins for running back depth. So we've addressed a lot. At this point, we got to think about where are we weak at this point? Like if we actually made all this happen, where are we weak? Our only weakness is we have a lot of rookies. We're relying on a lot of rookies. That's our weakness. But if these picks pan out, and some of them won't, but that's okay. We could still win 8-9 games with a couple of them not panning out. That's okay. Not every team in the NFL does, that makes the playoffs doesn't have every hole filled. Right? The Eagles have needs. They made the playoffs. So we can still compete next year, take a big step forward, and go into next year's draft with some needs for whoever didn't pan out. It's okay. So let's keep that in our minds. Always keep that in the back of your head. I think with 162, after what we saw today from the Cincinnati-Tennessee game, I don't want someone who's just good enough. Let's get ourselves a kicker. Let's get ourselves an animal. A guy who pings it from the 50-yard line like it's no problem. Let's just grab Cade York. Okay, now we get to look at the board. I think, if I remember correctly, we added some draft capital to go with in this draft. So let's see how we did overall. Again, we got Hutchinson, starter. Hamilton, starter. Zion Johnson, starter. Dotson in the rotation, right? Playing wide receiver for us. Probably he'll start out as our opposite the X, right? Or he'll mix around, but he's contributing. We got to hope he pans out. Brandon Smith, starter. Jeremy Ruckert, tight end too, if we sign Gesicki or Schultz. Tyler Smith, tackle, backup, number one guy maybe. Maybe he passes the guys we have right now, McDermott, Zuniga, whatever his name is. Like Chinooga, I don't forget which one is which. But like he's our first guy, right? Fant gets hurt, you bring in Tyler Smith. That's what we're hoping, if he's good enough. Hassan Haskins, we got to see what he does. Power running. Maybe he's going to be our power running back. Maybe he's that change of pace guy, right? Got our kicker. Okay. Take that. Competition at camp. We see how Pinero does against Cade York. We could do what Tampa did and protect York on the practice squad all year. Dotson seems to fall a lot in your drafts. Yeah, he does. He might not fall in real life. We also picked up draft capital, guys. Next year we'll have 2/3 and 3/4. So we picked up a little draft capital for next year, which we'll certainly enjoy. So we would go into that year, whatever those needs were, whatever our holes are, we'd be able to fill the holes at our first and second pick, and then we'd have extra third rounders and fourth rounders to build depth. So there you go. That's our draft. That's our draft. Assuming now we're going to start assuming who we're going to sign. So next time we might pretend that we signed a wide receiver and that we picked up an extra running back and that we spent a lot of money on a cornerback. That's one thing we didn't do this draft. You see, no matter how we work out these drafts, there's always something we miss. So we did not bring in a new cornerback, right? So that would be that could be the missing piece. That could be we win 8-9 games, maybe playing a wild card game, and we go into that next year's offseason exactly a year from now, and Eccles didn't take a step forward enough, and we're still sitting there saying that that's the weakness for our team. Maybe that's what happens. You know, I didn't realize that I hid myself from you guys the whole time. There we go. But maybe it was better. Maybe you were able to see better because I did that. So McBride instead of Dotson. Oh, for tight ends. But if we sign a good tight end and we bring in Jeremy Ruckert, I don't know that that's such a bad thing. You know? But yeah, we could have done that. But that'll happen. I'll tell you, Joe, that'll happen if we pretend that we signed a wide receiver, then we don't have to worry about wide receiver. Because in reality, something's going to happen in the offseason. Like we're going to sign something. Right? I mean, we have, like Harry was saying, we have at least $45 million of real money to spend. Like after considering draft class and everything else. Like there's going to be $45 million. That could be three $15 million players. That's why I say three positions. We might go two $15 million players and a bunch of other guys, like a running back that costs $3 to $4 million a year to be our solid RB2. And I'm trying to think other types of positions. Safety, you can get a guy for $6 or $7 million that could probably be decent. Wouldn't be your best safety on the team, but would be like a decent player, especially the way we seem to be able to coach up safeties. And I don't know how much LaMarcus Joyner costs if we re-sign him. I don't know if he's under contract still or not, but he'll come back, and we got to see if he's going to be on our team. He was supposed to be a guy we were excited about. Marcus May, because he come back from the Achilles. Do we keep him? Or is he done as a Jet? I don't care either way. I'm sorry, but safety people went nuts over Marcus May, and it's like, don't get me wrong. As a person, I like him. I appreciate him. He was a good player on our team. He's a loyal guy, a good guy to have on the field. I'm sorry, though. Safeties are not expensive. They're not. Like, you can fill in those spots with decent players, and that's why we weren't going to give him elite money. I'm sorry. You got to be elite to get elite money. You want to be a safety that makes $12 million plus, you got to be special. Marcus May was good. He was not special. He just wasn't. And someone's got to explain to me what made him so special. Like, really, you're going to pay Marcus May as like a top 5 safety in the NFL? Give me a break. Not even close. Good. He was a good player on a shit team. So to us, he was a great player. So my example of that is Lee Mazzilli. Lee Mazzilli in 1981 was my hero. He was the best New York Met in the history of my life. He was amazing. He was a superstar. You know what Lee Mazzilli was on other teams? He was a fourth outfielder. Okay? He had 1 year in 81 where he hit 303 and had 15 home runs and stole some bases. A few bases. Okay? To me, he was a superstar. Right? That's Marcus May. Yeah, he felt like a superstar because he played on a shit team. If you have a great team and that great team has Marcus May on it, he's just another good player on a great team. He's not your Aaron Donald. He's not your Watt. He's not your Carson or whatever his name is for Carolina. Like, he's not your guy. He's not the man. He's just a good player on a good defense. But he was played on a shitty team, so we overhyped him as if he's the superstar that we need to pay all kinds of money. And JD's not coming in with that mentality. He says, we're going to build a great team. We're not going to throw a big portion of our money away on a good player, because we can get a decent guy and we can coach him up and we can find the right guy for our system and be fine. Maybe LaFraud spends the offseason finding out how to use Mims. Yeah, I think that the Mims thing might be gone, dude. In my mind, I'm living as if Mims is gone. Like, if he's going to barely make the team. He's just some guy fighting to make the team. Sad to say, but that's what he's become. Now, as far as, how to use him, I don't know. Maybe we don't care. Maybe that's not what they care about. Maybe they're not trying to figure out how to use a guy like Mims. Maybe they're just trying to figure out how to get the players that work in their system. And instead of trying to figure out how to get him to work in the system, And I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm not thrilled about it. I thought Mims was a building piece for us. I thought he was a real building block for us, Mims. I thought that was I thought Q Williams, Mims, Marcus May, maybe Bryce Hall, if he got better. This is what I was thinking at a time a year ago. I was thinking maybe those were our building blocks. Maybe, and of course, back then, those were like our pieces that we had to build around. So I'm as shocked as anyone that Mims is no longer part of that conversation. It's hard to imagine, but at this point, we just have to hope he makes the team. You know, we've been bad for a while. Signing and drafting tight end, safety, and linebacker improves us exponentially. I agree. We're closer than people think. Forget about the record. If you look at the competitiveness of when we played well and when our players learned the system, it started to come together. We were starting to look. We were definitely looking like an NFL team, competitive, dangerous to anyone who played us. The way we played Tampa, even we hung in for 3 quarters with Buffalo, we were looking pretty real. So it's anything's, and there's so much that's going to get better. We know rookies get better. We know Zach is probably going to get better. It's just how much. We know Elijah Moore is going to get a lot better. Every receiver does. We know Michael Carter is going to get better at running back. Every running back gets better. How many running backs would you look with their best year was their rookie year? They almost always get better. A lot. So we have these young guys that not only did well, AVT too. We have these Michael Carter II, Eccles. We have these young guys, the guys I'm naming, some of them played really well. And historically, you get a lot better years 2 and years 3. So there's real potential for this team. And the fact that we're adding on so much more talent because we're going to have cap space and all these picks, it's exciting times. Yeah, Mookie Wilson. He was right before when I started rooting for the Mets was 79-80. I was really young, and I remembered Lee Mazzilli. We had a guy, Willie Montañez, Doug Flynn, John Stearns, a catcher. Too bad. That's like the Chad Pennington of the Mets. He was going to be a superstar, but he hurt his shoulder. Elliot Maddox at third base. Frank Tavares, shortstop. Joel Youngblood in the outfield had a crazy good arm. Ellis Valentine in the outfield had a good arm. Those were our players for the New York Mets. And then Mookie Wilson came along. He was great, though. I love Mookie, but he was a role player. He wasn't a guy that today would make $30 million a year, obviously. He's a guy who would make $12 million a year, right? Actually, we'd probably pay him $15 million as bad as the Mets need a center fielder. But he was a role player, but a very good one. Leadoff hitter, steals bases. He just didn't hit lefties and righties the same, so he had to start platooning with Dykstra. Mims and Perrin will both be gone next year. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I think Mims is fighting for a roster spot. He's just a guy fighting for a job on our team. If somebody comes along and even offers us a 5th, I think we might go ahead and do it. Or they're just going to wait for us to cut him, or he makes our squad and we put him on he might be hidden on the practice squad. Who knows? We don't know. It just depends on how he comes to camp. He's got to come back. He's got to come to camp better than he left the season. You know what I mean? He's got to study the playbook and be ready to go. That's how, that's the only way I see it. He's got to just be ready, kick some ass. All 4 Jet quarterbacks attempted 0 passes over 30 yards that were game plans. Mims, it doesn't fit. No. Yep. What could you say? It's a West Coast offense, right? He simply, I think he just struggled to learn the playbook. Frankie had a great video that had a picture on it. It was of one play in the West Coast offense. One play. And we all know there's 500 to 1,500 plays, right? But he had one play, and it made me nauseous. It made me dizzy if I was a player, if I'm a receiver, looking at the one play. Because it showed 3 possible routes based on what the defender was doing. And if you pick wrong, your quarterback is reading what you're going to do. So your quarterback is watching, and they're seeing how you're being covered. And if you're supposed to break left, the quarterback throws the ball left, assuming to break left. Easy to read. And if you're the receiver and you don't understand the playbook and you can't instinctively figure it out right away, and you slant to the right, and the linebacker, based on where he is, or the cornerback, based on where they're standing, you were supposed to break left. Now you got an interception, possibly, or an incomplete pass that the quarterback gets blamed for. So that one picture said it all to me. They have to know the playbook. So Yeah, Gitmo. He dribbled, but I don't consider Mookie. I don't define Mookie by that play. I don't know who does. I mean, Mookie was, if you're a Met fan, you loved Mookie. You loved the way he played, and he was a great guy. And by the way, there's a deli in North Carolina in Cary called Mookie's, and there's a Mookie Wilson sandwich, and they must have been diehard Met fans because they named their place Mookie, or Mookie's. But I love the guy. I'm not going to say he was a great player. I'm going to say he was a great Met. Like in that, we loved him. He was a baller. But yeah, I mean, he wasn't a superstar, or anything like that. Jeremy, you look like a Felix Milan fan. I don't go back long enough. My brother does, who got me into the Mets. I know a story about was it Ed Ott, a catcher from the Pirates, I think, who my brother keeps telling me he picked up Felix Milan and dropped him on his head and ruined his career. So my brother always hated this guy, Ed Ott. But he was right after my time. I came along, maybe it was 78, 77, 78 that I came along. It's a little sooner. I think because I remember I wasn't upset. I didn't know enough to be upset, but my brother was upset that they traded Tom Seaver. But I remember the guys that, all the players that we got for him, like Doug Flynn and Pat Zachary. Pete Falcone, I think, came from that trade. But I remember loving those players, thinking they were good to me. What did I know? I Pat Zachary I loved because he talked to me. We went to a game and we were sitting in the front. We bribed the guy. There was a time where if you wanted to go to box seats, because the stadium was so empty, they had guards by this gate. And you had to get through the gate to get into the box seats, to sneak into a seat. So I was 8 years old. So my brother would pull me up to the gate, the fence, so not near where the gate of security was. And there would be people in box seats walking around. My brother said, "Can we borrow your ticket? Please, please give us your ticket so we can get through. We just want to go get autographs. We'll come through security and then we'll give you your tickets back." Right? And he goes, "It's my little brother. Please, I want to get him autographs." We'd always find some Gitmo Bob type guy that would be like, "Yeah, I'm not going to say no. I'm going to let this kid, get some tickets." So they would give us the ticket. We take turns going around, or they'd be two people together and they'd give us their tickets. We get through the gates, we give them their tickets back. And then my dad would give us like $5, which we would give to an usher. The usher would take us to some box seats where he knows the guy, they're not going to be there that day. They're never there. And if they came, the usher would put us somewhere else. So we get in there and we go, we're in box seats now. We're in that orange area. He puts us in like the fifth row behind first base. It was amazing, right? First game ever. They're playing the Phillies, I think it was. Pete Rose was already on the Phillies because my first game I got to see Pete Rose. And this was a couple of years after I liked the Mets, because this wasn't right in 78. This was more like 80, 81. And then Pat Zachary comes over. I get his autograph. He's signing the ball. And my brother's like, "Say something to him." So I said, "How's your arm?" Because he had just had surgery. And he goes, "My arm's good. How's yours?" And I just remember saying, "My arm's good too." And he said, "Good." And he laughed and he signed his autograph for me. So of course I always loved Pat Zachary because of that. Memories, man. That kind of stuff. When those guys give autographs to kids, they have no idea what they're doing for those kids. Giving them memories they'll remember for the rest of their life. So when I'm famous on YouTube, I'm going to give out so many autographs outside MetLife. Yeah. That was my point. He was a Mazzilli. Yeah, Mookie was like a Mazzilli. That one of Piazza or Clemens. Piazza off of Clemens. Oh, you guys are talking baseball now. I think Bryant is here. Good to see you, Bryant. Hopefully I said hello on time before you had to go. Good to see you. Good to see you. We just did a draft with the assumption of some players. We're talking about how Joe Douglas, not just from a draft perspective, but free agency and the draft. How can Joe Douglas approach free agency and the draft together? And can we fill all of our holes? Did you see the chase round on the last drive? Perfect. Oh, yeah. Chase is good. Was Piazza the best Met ever? By the way, guys, I love baseball, and I was thinking one of the things that the way I have this branded, like NFL chaos with Jeremy. Imagine one day, right? Long time from now, in the future, I got thousands of followers, right? Everything's great. And I decided it's time to expand and use the brand. And then all of a sudden I have MLB chaos with Jeremy. Think of that. We sit there and just talk about the Mets. Or I could just have a stream in this channel that specific shows that we talk about baseball. But was Piazza the greatest Met ever? Not in my opinion. In my opinion, Jason DeGrom might be the greatest Met ever. Tom Seaver, Nolan Ryan. Positional player, non-pitcher, maybe. I don't know. I thought Gary Carter was pretty good. Keith Hernandez was pretty special. Man, Darryl Strawberry, if he would have just had what could have been with Darryl, man. Darryl Strawberry was probably the best athlete the Mets ever had. To me, it was wasted potential. He could have been very, very much more special. He should have been a Hall of Famer, but he just made some bad choices. Tom Seaver, yeah. I don't know. DeGrom, I think if you compare numbers, DeGrom is I know it's hard to give up guys of the past, but I think DeGrom might be passing Seaver. We'll see how DeGrom plays the next couple of years. Screw you, kid. Fork over the $10 and buy a box seat. That's what you would have said? Oh, you're funny, man. You had a running conversation with him? That's pretty cool. Was it friendly? I hope it was friendly. Yeah, well, Gooden is another Strawberry, right? I mean, I remember I watched his first game against the Houston Astros. I'll never forget it. In the den, in my house in Brooklyn, in Canarsie. Parents sleeping upstairs. I think it was a Friday night or Saturday night, playing in the Astrodome, whatever, playing in Houston. Dwight Gooden's first game, 19 years old. And I watched, and then, those first 2 years with Gooden, jeez, something special. There was no one like him in 85. 85, 20 years old, dominated the league, and then he threw it all away. Unbelievable. There was no one there, and Ricky loved to talk. That's cool. Swisher was very interactive. If you sat in the bleachers in Yankee Stadium, he would interact with the bleacher fans. My wife loved that. She would say, Saturday at 10 a.m., she'd say, can we go on to, what was that site? One of those sites. We'd go onto the website. We'd buy tickets the last second, $5 each plus service fee. It would be like $15-16. We'd pick up 2 tickets. This was in 2015, 2014. We pick up tickets for like $15-20. We were on the Upper West Side. We jump on the D train, go right to Yankee Stadium, sit in the bleachers, and get some food. Swisher would come running out. He would, we're doing roll call. We'd get up to Swisher. He would turn around and do the salute. And then every inning he'd come out and wave to us and play it up to us and pump us up. And he's a really cool guy. I liked him. I'm a Met fan, but I love Nick Swisher. He was a good guy. Made my wife very happy. It was special for her. She liked that. Do you do the U.S. Home Run Derby? Great local contest. What do you mean, do you do the U.S. Home Run Derby? Great local contest. What does that mean, to do it? I watched it. Like, are you talking about the Home Run Derby before the All-Star game? I think the answer might be no, because I don't know what it is, which means that means no. I take boxes in the Super Bowl. Like, I buy two $50 boxes and gamble $100 in the Super Bowl to make the game more interesting. My wife did it at work once with the $10 box, and we hit in the Pittsburgh-Seattle Super Bowl. I think we hit the halftime score or something due to some touchdown at the last second. I'll never forget how excited we were. Yes, yes. It was like $200 or something. I forget, 150. But man, we were excited. We're like, yeah, we're gonna buy something with that money. We're gonna go to Peter Luger's and get a steak with that money. No. Yes, obviously I don't. Tell me about it, man. I'll sign up for it. I'll participate in some home run derby. I feel like a stud now. I was my fifth graders were playing football at dismissal. Like we're dismissing them, and there's the parking lot, and the cars are pulling in, and there's this grassy area. And my boss, my principal, keeps throwing these fifth graders out of the area when they're playing. They're supposed to be sitting on the bleachers waiting for their parents. The problem is that the high school next door doesn't get out until 40 minutes after us, and they have siblings there. So these kids have to wait 40 minutes every day for their parents to come. And I'm thinking, they just sat in a classroom all day. How do you expect them to sit down on some bleachers for 40 minutes? It was a beautiful day because it's Sacramento. Yesterday was 67 degrees or something. It's sunny. Kids are throwing the football. My principal gives me a look like, take care of it. So what did I do? I played designated quarterback. And I had them waiting on line. Two guys go at a time. One covers the other one-on-one. I'm the quarterback. He tries to beat the defender and get the touchdown. So he's going out for a pass. And then they switch roles. The other one gets to defend them. They do it again. And then the next two guys on line go, right? Or the winner, or whatever. One person comes in and the winner of the two who did better gets to stay, and the other one gets in the back of the line. So I'm the quarterback, and I'm like with the football going, huh! And that some of these kids are much better than the others. So they're putting a move. I'm telling them, stop. I'll fake the pump and then go. And they're deep, and I'm throwing a spiral, catches it out of the air, touchdown. And I'm acting like I'm freaking Joe Montana. I'm sitting there going, yeah, man, I'm pointing at the kid. Yeah. After we connect, it was hysterical. Then they had me cover one of the kids. So, of course, I gave him tons of space, waited for the kid to throw the ball to the other kid. And I took 5 giant steps, stuck out my hand, intercepted the ball. I told Green Bean about it, and he said, you idiot. You're supposed to let them win. You're not supposed to beat them. And now I could tell that Gitmo Bob response to that would be, why? The hell with those kids. Let them learn. They got to learn how to lose. They were calling me old bald guy. They're like, the old bald guy can't cover me. You think I'm going to let him beat me after saying that? Of course I'm going to pick the ball. Besides, it felt good. It's like pretending I was like Eric McMillan. Anyway, what are you guys doing tonight? We got another game, right? I'm sure that other game started by now. I don't even know what the score is or what's going on in it, but there's some other game going on. I am calling the watch party is going to be, you could probably see it on the site already on my channel. It's already up there. Doing the Kansas City Buffalo Bills game. We're going to have a watch party. Oh, it's halftime? Okay. I'll go watch the second half now. We're going to do a Bills Chiefs watch party, me and my bro. We'll probably be cutting on the Bills, rooting against them. If you want to join us and have some fun and talk, we can do that. There will be no draft or anything like that. You know how it is. You see what I'm saying? So he's going to pull a Green Bean on me. That's what Green Bean was saying. No, I would say let the kids have some success, you bully. They were having success against each other. They were talking trash, man. They were calling me old bald guy. I needed to show them that sometimes experience and knowledge and smarts can beat youth and speed. Okay, I needed to prove that. I needed to show them that. I'm an educator. I need to show them how important it is to use your mind, to use strategy, not to just rely on what you were given, what you have, but that you actually have to use your brain. That was my point. That's why I did it. How many assistant principals would do that? The principal's sitting there saying, make them go back to the bleachers. I turn it into an organized game. I make it an activity. They'll remember me forever because of that. They're going to say, remember in elementary school? Mr. Cravat played football with us. How fun was that? These kids, the reason they're so hungry to play is because I am. The reason they wanted to play is because some of them live like in apartment buildings and stuff. They're not allowed to go to the park because the neighborhoods aren't safe. I mean, I'm in a high need community. Okay, so these kids don't get to interact all the time with each other. So this might be their opportunity, like outside of a classroom, to really play and have a good time together. So, like my friends' kids are all in leagues. They're in a league for every sport. And my students, only like 10, 15% of them are in organized sports. 85% don't play anything because it costs money. It's a lot of money to be in a league, to play soccer out here. My friend spends a fortune for his kids to play soccer. Baseball, football's the worst. Crazy money they want. So it's like, it's hard. A lot of my students can't afford it, and they have no way to get together and play organized sports. So I thought I did a good thing for them. I let them have some fun. I played with them. I organized an activity, a way to do it where everyone got to play. Thought it was a good thing. 7-0 Packers. Okay. Well, San Francisco's making it a game, right? What happened when your arm? God, dude, my arm is falling off right now. It was falling off. My arm was spaghetti by the 10th row. I didn't even stretch. And right now, today, I was like, oh, why is my arm hurting, man? It feels like I just got the vaccine. My wife goes, what? And I go, my arm is killing me. And then I said, oh, shit. It's because I was playing football with the kids yesterday. I was like, oh, shit. I forgot what it was like to be sore. Crazy. It's fun kind of hanging out like this, guys. We're just hanging out, chilling. If you joined us and you missed it, I'll share screen again, show you the draft we had. We had ourselves a draft. Gitmo gave it an A, so you know it was special. Aiden Hutchinson, Kyle Hamilton, Zion Johnson, Jan Dotson, Brandon Smith, Jeremy Ruckert, Tyler Smith, the tackle out of Tulsa, Hassan Hoskins, the running back out of Michigan, Cade York, the kicker out of LSU. We picked up a third pick from the Giants in 23. We picked up a fourth pick from both Arizona and Washington in 23. So we got 3 extra draft picks for next year. And I'm calling it definitely up there with one of the better drafts I've ever had. First time I think Bob ever gave me an A. So Joe is still a little bit upset because he wanted McBride. I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't be great to pick up a guy like Schultz from Dallas on free agency and get McBride. That would be pretty sweet. But you can't have everything. We're not going to get everything we want. And, based on experience, and we get very little of what we want. That's like maybe nothing. Because it just seems to never, ever happen the way we want it to happen. So we just got to hope that if it's not the way we're doing it, it's still good. Captain K, Techno's here. He's in Ireland. He's wiry. That's why we can make Captain our kicker, because he's wiry. Great draft. I think so. It was a good draft. Mess is just disappointed that I'm not getting food all over myself. One of my top drafts. Well, maybe because I was focused on it, not focused on a burrito that was getting all over me, right? So I think Gitmo said it before. We need a mulligan. Well, we got our mulligan, and we took advantage of it. It's like I hit the ball 5 feet into a tree on the side, and someone said, I'll give you a mulligan, and then I hit it right down the fairway. 350 yards. Yeah, this would be a great draft in real life. How happy would the Jet fans be if that really happened? If we got Hutchinson, Hamilton, Johnson, Dotson, Brandon Smith, Ruckert. Oh, my God. We'd be going crazy. Did you see the Jason Pinnock fish in the time? Yeah, that's crazy, man. Jason Pinnock. So, I mean, I wouldn't count on it. Like, I don't think it's enough of a sample to rely on him being a good safety for us, but it's exciting. I think they should treat him as a safety from now on, like go into camp and have him do reps as a safety for sure. And see, you never know. Maybe that's what he was meant to be. Someone made him a corner because the high school he played at, he would be a superior athlete wherever you put him, and they put him at corner. He was shut down. shutdown corner, went to Pittsburgh. He was a good corner for them. They liked him. They kept him there. No one thought about it. And then in the NFL, it's not going to happen. But you got some physical attributes that might make you a good safety. And he picks it up so fast, right? I mean, he was literally learning the position. And suddenly now he's getting this high rating. Was it luck, small sample size, or is maybe we've discovered something? Maybe he's going to be a stud. He doesn't even have to be a stud. Can you imagine if he was just good, like a good starting safety? That's ridiculous. When did we pick him? I mean, I can't even fifth, sixth. I mean, I mix up the rounds, but these are all fifth, sixth round guys. How many of them can actually start and be effective and help this team? It's crazy. JD is going to, it might be the greatest late round draft I've ever seen. I mean, imagine Eccles takes a step, even if Eccles is the backup cornerback, like he gets some reps when we go into a dime or something, right? When we got the other team at the end of the game, or they're in shotgun 2-minute drill and Eccles is out there, but he's our number one guy to come in when someone gets hurt. If that's his career and he's here for 5 or 6 years in that role, are you kidding me? Where was he picked? That's crazy to get that kind of like a depth guy to fill. That's a spot. That's a hole. Depth is a hole. If you don't have anybody to bring in when someone gets hurt, that's a hole. If he's filling that spot for us and he's not a starter, it's still amazing to fill that spot with a 5th, 6th round pick. Amazing. So, so if Pinnock is a starting safety, my God. And then you look at Michael Carter II, just an insane draft, guys. Crazy, crazy draft. I don't know what's going to happen with this Marshall defensive tackle, but he played, and that's impressive that he got in and played. I mean, it wasn't very good. I'm not going to say he wasn't very good. I'm going to say the defensive line sucked, and he was one of them. So you have to assume he didn't play too well. But, the fact that he got in, and we know rookies only get better. So what does that mean for a guy like Marshall? A guy who we knew we picked with our last pick, who was a developmental player. Maybe he becomes a really good depth guy, like a guy that we could bring in if someone gets hurt. Maybe that's what he's going to be, but maybe he won't be better in the future than he was his rookie year because he's going to get better. So maybe all of a sudden we have a guy where if somebody gets hurt, limps off, they're out for a game or two, maybe we bring him in and we don't take such a step down. So he also did some exciting things in the preseason. So this draft 21 drafts, it still can go, we don't know how it's going to be looked at fully yet. A lot of it is Zach Wilson, because if we found our franchise quarterback and if he turns out to be the best quarterback we ever had in our history since Namath, no matter what happened to the other picks, you're going to call it successful. But if he's a really good quarterback, develops into a very good quarterback, that's our starter for the next 10 years or whatever it is. And then you talk about AVT and you talk about Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, and then you talk about all these back-end guys on defense. It's really be remembered as a very special draft. So I hope Pinnock makes the team as a safety. If he's really good and we sign someone and then we draft somebody and that becomes a strength and it's deep, it's a deep room, it's a great situation for us, man. It'll be a great scenario for the Jets. Because Frankie said it best. He could not have been said or pointed out better. I know we get excited when we have guys in the starting 22 that are good. Oh man, we got Becton, and it's going to be a new zone blocking system, and so McGovern will be really good, and we got AVT, and then we got this new guy Moses, and we got and McGovern will be better. Or not McGovern, GVR will be better at right guard because he's going to be okay because it's a zone blocking scheme which fits. We were all excited. Our line's pretty good. It only needs a little bit more work, but it's much better. And we have Elijah Moore now, and we have Crowder, and we have Corey Davis, and this guy Coleman who's playing well, and we have Mims. This was us a year ago, right? We're thinking, how could we be bad, right? We didn't have cornerbacks. That was the one thing. But we're thinking, it's really exciting in all these areas. And what we forgot was as soon as because at the time Carl Lawson was still healthy. But what we don't realize is those backup guys, that first one or two safeties or those first one or two guys that come in at corner or in the secondary, those first guys that come in when there's injuries in the defensive line, those first couple of guys that come in at guard or tackle when there are injuries, that backup running back, some backup that can come in and play decently and keep your offense just as efficient or almost as good or good enough to win. That's how you build a real team, a championship team. And we may have had some good, exciting things going on in those top 11 on both sides of the ball. But then the injuries started happening. And then what were we? We were the team that were picking up guys off the garbage heap. So we're not done. This rebuild's going to take time because it's not only filling the 22 guys, we get lucky and there are no injuries. We've got to get deep. We've got to build rooms that are deep in every area. We've got to have a secondary room that's deep, a linebacker room that's deep, a defensive line room that's deep, an offensive line room that's deep. We have to build depth everywhere we can. And that's going to take time. We're not going to do that this year. We can get lucky this year, though. We can get enough quality guys. We have enough capital that we could get a lot of those 22, a lot of really good players. And maybe we don't get the injuries aren't as horrendous as it was this year. And maybe we do get 7 to 9 wins. Maybe we get to 9. Maybe. I don't know. But maybe we do. And then we have another year to build depth. Because eventually we're not going to be looking for starters after the first top 2 picks, right? We're going to be very set in our starters. We're going to be – our goal is to become a team that's drafting for depth. When we don't have any glaring needs, maybe one. But then the other picks are all depth. What room needs the most depth that we have? That we don't have it. That's what we want to be. That's where we want to be. We don't want to be a team that we're going into this draft and this free agency where we have holes. In the starting lineup, we have holes. Right? So we're not contending for Super Bowls here, and we're not going to go deep yet until we address that. When we go into an offseason where we're building on depth, when we have the freedom to take the best player on the board because we're strong already and we're just going for special talent, that's going to be a special day. That'll be a good time for us. Douglas loves position changes. He sees certain skill sets. Yeah. Well, the important thing is that Saleh's on the same page as him, right? So it's not like Douglas is going to Saleh and saying, you should be able to take this guy and play him here. I think it's a collaborative, agreed-upon effort where they're in sync with each other. So I think that's important. So, I think that all those guys that they picked, that they think they convert to linebacker, I think that was collaborative. I think that, Saleh said, yeah, I'm not looking for the traditional linebacker maybe of the past. I'm looking for coverage guys that are really fast. Maybe he even said, I'm looking for safeties that play in the box a lot and that I can convert to a linebacker. Because that's what they did in San Francisco with Werner, or one of them that he said was really had the body of what's his face? Not Nasruddin, but the one who started who got hurt, Sherwood. So, and they liked Sherwood, man. They really thought Sherwood was going to be special. I don't know. Wow, his injury was pretty serious. So everybody talks like, oh, we'll have this guy back next year. I don't know. Even ACL, until I see them back on the field playing well. I mean, here's a guy that we wasn't even improving. He wasn't playing well yet. So here's a guy we think is good, they thought was going to play well, and he's going to come back from a serious injury. So you have to see how that all pans out. Like even Carl Lawson. I'm not saying there's anyone I trust more to work hard to get better, because Carl Lawson is there's no question in my mind he's going to do everything it takes to get better. He's going to rehab and work his tail off. He's going to be he'll probably put himself in Mosley's dungeon. And he'll do all that, and he'll be the hardest worker you've ever seen in your life to get better. But there are certain injuries where it doesn't matter how hard you work. It might take a percentage off your game. It might impact your game to a certain amount, like that little edge. And that little edge that you lose might be the difference. So Gitmo Bob said it. That's my worst fear. Yeah, Achilles. We can't to me, that's just now. It's just he's a dart thrower now. It's yeah, you bring him into camp and you see how it goes. But I'm sorry, And Achilles is no joke, man. It was like up until very recently, it was a career killer. It ended careers. Guys could barely get back on the field. And when they did, they were not good. And now there's been advances in technology, in the medical technology in the world. There has, and Kevin Durant is a great example of it. And believe me, that sport is just as challenging, right? It's basketball. There's no question with his height and what he does on that basketball court. It's a good thing for us. Like, we should look at it as a positive. The fact that Durant was able to come back from it is a good sign. Akers looked pretty good. So, but we can't count on it. Like, that's why we need to take an edge. Not only do we want a better edge to be opposite of Lawson anyway, but we have to assume that there's a strong possibility that Lawson is not going to be the guy that he was going to be. We have to deal with that reality. As hard as he's going to work, we have to hope and pray that he's in that small group, that he's like we're in a new world where guys are going to have Achilles and come back. That's why I don't know if Marcus May is going to be, Sherwood's going to be the same. I don't know, because of my lifetime, an Achilles, you blow out your Achilles, you were done. It's very few examples of guys who overcame that and came back and were the same player. But Durant, watching Akers last week, okay, we have hope. We have a lot more hope than we ever had. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope these guys can come back. There's a wide receiver. It's only his third year on defense to use learning curve. Yeah, some people are saying that he could end up being as good as Hall was. Eccles' rookie year may have been. I don't want to say it because but I have to look into. I'll say it this way. I would like to research and compare Bryce Hall's rookie year in the games that he played to Eccles' rookie he played, because we all saw the step that Bryce Hall took forward. Now, I'm not one of these crazy guys that's going to sit here and say that Bryce Hall's a CB1 lockdown corner. He is not. He played really well, though, at times, and he showed a lot of potential, and he definitely showed he belongs on the field and he deserves a starting job. And he could probably be, I believe, has already proven and made me feel that at the very worst, he could be one of the better CB2s in the league, or not such a great CB1. But maybe you could find another Bryce Hall level guy and attack it that way. So you don't have a true CB1, but you have two really good cornerbacks. And then you even have a good third one, so you're really deep. And then you have very good safeties to help out. You have a good pass rush, so it's okay that you don't have a shutdown corner. That's a possibility. But do we know that Eccles can't develop into being a CB1? Do we know? I don't know. I want to look at his numbers, because if it turns out he was better than Bryce Hall, then what's to say he won't be better next year than Bryce Hall was this year? Like, who's to say that? Like, I don't know. We don't know what his ceiling is. I don't think we 100% know what Bryce Hall's ceiling is, but I think next year it's going to show. Like, third year, it's not going to get that much better than that. Now's when you start to see a guy hit his prime in the NFL, right? I mean, in that kind of position, not quarterback, but in a position where you still need your physical attributes, your youth, your speed, your reflexes. When you need that, 3 years in, you're starting to show your ceiling. At least that's my opinion. So unfortunately, I believe Rankin's had an Achilles and is just all right. Yeah, like, he could be an example, right? He's an example. Exactly. If you add an edge, a cover linebacker in Hamilton, Eccles, Carter, and Hall are fine. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they actually were holding in any game, the game that we had 7 sacks, the games that our defense played well, that our line played well and put pressure on the quarterback, and that Quincy Adams played well along with CJ. On those games, nobody was complaining about our corners. Corners were fine. There's different ways to skin a cat. They said it themselves. You can't always have 11 complete amazing players, right? But if you have some elite players that play really well, it could cover up non-perfections from the other positions. And as long as they're good enough to not totally mess up and screw up assignments. A good pass rush can turn good cornerbacks into great ones. Yeah, I agree 100%. We've seen it a million times. I mean, and sometimes great cornerbacks can turn defensive linemen into great defensive linemen. Maybe not in this time they get to the quarterback, but in their numbers, right? If you have how many times have we what do we call it? A coverage sack. So I don't think our defensive line was getting that many coverage sacks, but I think our cornerbacks weren't getting that much help either. I think we needed help in both areas, but we certainly got to improve one of them exponentially. And if we do the defensive line, maybe that's going to help the cornerbacks. If we do both, if we ended up picking up McCreary in the draft or something like that, and he turned out to be shutdown corner or Source Gardner or Kyler Gordon, if one of those guys panned out and we ended up with them, just easier for us. Yeah, Quincy was definitely a nice pickup. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and call him an all-pro or get crazy about it. People like to go crazy, right? You know, probably know what I'm talking about. They get online and acting like these guys are superstars. No, but to pick them up for free off the junk heap, damn good pickup, man. Damn good pickup. And when people complain about him and it's consistency, well, what do you expect? If he was always good and he was good every play and he had no weaknesses, he wouldn't have been available. So, I mean, we should be – the fact that he was able to contribute and have some good games for us is amazing, right? Because he could have been like Redwine. He could have just been a guy that just totally lost the game for us and made us look stupid by falling down and not covering Robbie Anderson. So, I think we should be really happy, so no doubt about it. I would like him not to be like, I want to go into the season where Quincy Williams is not the starter. Now, I'm not saying it because I don't like him. I'm saying it because I want to be that deep. I want to be that good. I want to be a good enough team that in the linebacker room that Quincy Williams is not a starter, but he's a guy that can come in if there's an injury or come in and get some reps when a guy is tired, or in certain pass situations and be really effective. And I think that would be great. That's what I want to be as a team. I want to have players that are good players that we think, wow, I can't believe we have them on the bench. I can't believe we're that deep. That player would start for other teams, right? So if Quincy becomes that, if he becomes a guy that we wish would that we say would start on other teams, that's the better, all the better for us. That means we're in a really strong position. So, man, it's 10 o'clock, 10:11 on the East Coast. Eric Craig is probably an hour ahead of me in Texas, or maybe 2 hours ahead of me. So he's probably 9 o'clock there. He's saying good luck. I mean, good evening, Jets YouTube fam. What is up, Eric Craig? Glad you found us here. I was just doing a draft / free agency thing. We did a thing where we picked 3 positions that we sign in free agency with very good players and then do a draft. We looked how we ended up. Just to realistically get an idea of without crazy trades, like without, like everything within reason, what could we realistically do this offseason? And it looks pretty good. I wouldn't put us there yet. We wouldn't be a championship level team, especially because we'd have rookies starting. And guys still developing, but it would definitely put us in a situation where we're good and we are getting closer. I believe Hutchinson Ojabo had 3.5 sacks combined prior to the past season. I am not drafting one-year wonders who don't play the system. Yeah, well, I don't think I think that they're also looking at physical attributes, right? And they're looking and like our guys, I mean, in the end of the day, you won't see JD take them if you're right about that. Like they're not going to take guys that they don't think fit their system or they don't think they can coach to fit the system, right? But they will take guys based on the combine and their physical attributes. Like if they go into the combine and one of those guys wowed them with their athleticism, they look at the tape and they're wowed by the tape. And they see the physical strength and the speed, and they're looking at the instincts on the tape and the instinctual of the player in the tape of they have them playing. It might not be based on how many sacks they got or what their production was statistically. It might just be, what do we think that player will be on our team? I can't predict that. Maybe you can. Maybe you're going to be right and they won't take them. But I promise you, if Joe Douglas takes them, then they believe it. So if they take Ojabo, it's because they believe they can coach him up. and he could be a very good defensive lineman. They're not going to spend the first round pick if they don't believe it. I'm not saying they're right. They could be wrong, but I'm saying they believe it. And I'm not going to sit there and pretend I know more than Joe Douglas and his scouts, and that I'm able to look at more tape and make those determinations better than they can. Right? We have our guesses, and we watch tape as best we can on TV. But until I build a track record, maybe I build a track record. Maybe, but before the draft comes, I'm going to give you guys my top 20, top 40 players, and maybe I'm going to do my top 3 in every position. And maybe if I do that every year, and I'm on YouTube for years to come, maybe we could start looking, and maybe I make a case for myself. But I have nothing on record to make a case. I don't think any of us do, to show that we know more than a bunch of scouts who are looking at tons and tons of tape and making the best decisions they can make. So that's the whole thing about Joe Douglas. You either trust him or you don't. So whoever we pick, we have to trust that they're not brainwashed by hype or the media. We have to trust that they're going by their rankings and their analysis. What I saw on New York Jets Drive 1 leading up to the draft, the footage they showed of how they talked about the players, I feel like the outside world didn't exist. I feel like they were doing everything based on what they were viewing and what they were seeing. They were evaluating on their own. They were going by their own interviews and what they saw, the physical things they saw. It didn't feel like they were being influenced by outside forces. They seemed to know what they wanted in those positions. They seemed to have an idea of what they were looking for and what would work. Oh, enjoy. Go watch the game, Gitmo. I'm gonna go too. Now that's the second half. I don't want to miss the second half. So I'm gonna go too. Thanks for joining, Gitmo. I appreciate you. You know that it's 9-ish here in Texas. I was right. So that you were on, decided to check in. All right, Eric. Well, if you want to rewatch it, you can see how our draft went. And see what we did. We pretended that we signed a linebacker, tight end, and safety, and then we did a draft based on that information. So if you want to go back and check it out tomorrow or later, if you're bored, go ahead and do that. Always look forward to your comments. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. Harry, if you're still around, thank you for coming. Friggle D, thank you for being here tonight. Joe, thank you so much for hanging around so long. I can't believe that you do that. Jets mess. I love you, man. My brother loves you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow. I'll see if I'm forgetting anybody that was here earlier. Owen, if you're still around, thanks so much, man. I love all the support you give me every time I go live. I appreciate it so much, man. And I will keep going as long as I can, as often as I can, because I love it. It's a lot of fun. So until then, I leave you with this. This is a preview of what you could expect if you watch tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Go. Amazing. That's my boy.
Breaks away from a sack and completes the pass for first down.
Oh, Kittle just may have made the most amazing catch.
He fights for the first down and gets out of bounds, too.
It's no good. Overtime. Oh, what a catch. How do you drop that? What are you, Jamal Adams? Touchdown.
This is a touchdown all the way.
He reached over the pylon. San Francisco beat Cincinnati.